In the dense, dark woods of whispering pines, where the shadows seemed to dance with sinister glee, there lurked a chilling secret that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. It was said that beneath the cloak of night, when the moon hung full and heavy in the sky, the inhabitants of the sleepy town would lock their doors and shutter their windows, for they knew that the howls of the dreaded werewolves echoed through the trees. Legend whispered of a curse that had befallen the land centuries ago, cast by an ancient witch seeking revenge against those who had wronged her. And thus, the curse of lycanthropy was born, turning ordinary men into savage beasts with an insatiable hunger for flesh and blood. Among the townsfolk, there were tales of encounters with these monstrous creatures, of loved ones disappearing into the night, never to be seen again. Fear gripped the hearts of all who dwelled in Whispering Pines, for they knew that no one was safe from the wrath of the werewolves. One fateful evening, as the moon cast its eerie glow upon the forest, a group of travelers stumbled upon the outskirts of the town, unaware of the peril that awaited them. They were weary and lost, seeking refuge from the darkness that surrounded them. As they entered Whispering Pines, a sense of unease washed over them, as if the very air was thick with dread. But they pressed on, desperate for shelter from the encroaching night. They found themselves drawn to an old inn nestled at the edge of the woods, its timbers creaking in the wind like the bones of some long-forgotten creature. The innkeeper greeted them with a wary smile, his eyes darting nervously towards the forest beyond. Reluctantly, he offered them a place to rest for the night, warning them of the dangers that lurked in the shadows. But the travelers were weary and hungry, and the warmth of the inn beckoned to them like a beacon in the night. As they settled in for the evening, the sounds of the forest grew louder, the branches scratching against the windows like claws seeking entry. Unease settled over the travelers like a suffocating blanket as they realized they were not alone in the darkness. And then, as if summoned by some unseen force, the howls began. Long and mournful, they echoed through the night, sending a chill down the spine of even the bravest soul. The travelers huddled together in terror, their eyes wide with fear as they realized the true nature of the danger that surrounded them. For in Whispering Pines, beneath the light of the full moon, the werewolves roamed free, hungry for the taste of human flesh. And as the night stretched on, the travelers knew that their fate hung in the balance, for in the land of the werewolves, there was no escape from the darkness that lurked within. As the howls of the werewolves reverberated through the night, the travelers huddled closer together, their hearts pounding in their chests. The innkeeper paced nervously, his eyes darting towards the door as if expecting some monstrous visitor to burst through at any moment. Outside, the forest seemed to come alive with movement, shadows flitting between the trees like phantoms in the night. The air grew thick with tension, each breath tinged with the scent of fear. Suddenly, a loud crash shattered the stillness, causing the travelers to jump in alarm. They turned towards the source of the sound, their eyes widening in horror as the door to the inn burst open with a deafening roar. In the doorway stood a massive figure, its form obscured by the darkness of the night. But as it stepped into the flickering light of the inn, the travelers recoiled in terror at the sight before them. It was a werewolf, its fur matted with blood and its eyes blazing with an unholy fire. Saliva dripped from its jaws as it advanced into the room, its growls sending a chill down the spine of even the bravest among them. With a cry of terror, the travelers scrambled for safety, seeking refuge wherever they could find it. But the werewolf was relentless in its pursuit, its claws rending through flesh and bone with savage efficiency. As the night wore on and the screams of the travelers echoed through the inn, the inhabitants of Whispering Pines knew that their worst fears had come to pass. The werewolves had returned, and no one was safe from their insatiable hunger. But amidst the chaos and carnage, a glimmer of hope remained. For somewhere in the darkness, a brave soul stood ready to confront the creatures that lurked in the shadows. And as the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the stage was set for a battle between man and monster, where only the strongest would survive. The fate of Whispering Pines hung in the balance, its future uncertain in the face of the terror that stalked its streets. And as the sun rose higher in the sky, casting its golden light upon the town below, only time would tell if the werewolves would be vanquished once and for all, or if their reign of terror would continue unchecked for eternity. As the sun rose over Whispering Pines, the eerie silence that followed the night of terror seemed almost deafening. The townsfolk emerged from their homes cautiously, their eyes scanning the streets for any sign of the creatures that had haunted their nightmares. but the werewolves were nowhere to be found, leaving behind only the lingering stench of blood and fear. Whispers spread through the town like wildfire, rumors of the previous night's horrors fueling the growing sense of unease that hung heavy in the air. Among the survivors of the inn, a sense of camaraderie had formed, forged in the crucible of fear and desperation. They gathered together, determined to uncover the truth behind the sudden onslaught of werewolf attacks and put an end to the terror that had gripped their town. Their search led them deep into the heart of the forest, where ancient trees loomed like silent sentinels, their twisted branches reaching towards the sky like accusing fingers. With each step, the air grew colder, the shadows closing in around them like a suffocating embrace. Suddenly, they stumbled upon a clearing bathed in the soft glow of moonlight, its center marked by a circle of gnarled stones worn smooth by the passage of time. It was here that they discovered the source of the curse that had plagued Whispering Pines for generations. At the center of the clearing stood a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. It was the witch who had cast the curse so long ago, her form twisted and distorted by the dark magic that coursed through her veins. With a voice like gravel, she spoke of ancient grievances and long-forgotten betrayals, her words dripping with venom and malice. And as she raised her hands to summon forth the power of the curse once more, the travelers knew that they faced a battle unlike any they had ever known. But even as the witch unleashed her dark magic upon them, they stood firm, their resolve uncheckable in the face of evil. With each spell they countered and each incantation they deflected, they drew closer to victory, their determination fueled by the knowledge that the fate of Whispering Pines hung in the balance. As the final confrontation loomed, the air crackled with energy, the very earth trembling beneath their feet. And as the travelers prepared to face their greatest challenge yet, they knew that only by standing together could they hope to overcome the darkness that threatened to consume them all. But what fate awaited them in the depths of the forest, and what secrets lay buried beneath the soil of Whispering Pines? Only time would reveal the answers to these questions, as the battle between man and monster raged on, its outcome uncertain in the face of the ancient magic that bound them all. As the travelers prepared for their final confrontation with the witch and her cursed minions, whispers began to circulate among the townsfolk. Rumors spoke of a prophecy, whispered by the ancients and passed down through generations, foretelling of a chosen one who would rise to vanquish the darkness and bring an end to the curse that had plagued Whispering Pines for centuries. Some believed that among the travelers stood this chosen one, destined to wield the power of light against the forces of darkness. Others dismissed the prophecy as nothing more than a fairy tale, born from the fevered imaginations of those desperate for hope in a world consumed by fear. But as the travelers ventured deeper into the forest, their resolve remained unshakable, their faith in each other unwavering in the face of uncertainty. They knew that their journey would not be an easy one, fraught with danger and peril at every turn. Yet they pressed on, driven by a determination to protect their home and those they held dear from the horrors that lurked in the shadows. And as they reached the heart of the forest, they found themselves faced with a sight that filled them with both dread and determination. Before them stood the witch, her twisted form wreathed in darkness as she unleashed her unholy power upon the land. Around her, the werewolves howled and snarled, their eyes blazing with a feral hunger that sent a chill down the spine of even the bravest among them. But the travelers stood their ground, their weapons at the ready as they prepared to face their greatest challenge yet. With each blow they struck and each spell they cast, they drew closer to victory, their determination unwavering in the face of overwhelming odds. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the tide of battle turned. With a cry of triumph, the travelers unleashed the full force of their combined strength upon the witch and her minions, driving them back with a power that seemed to shake the very foundations of the earth. But as the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded into silence, a sense of unease lingered in the air, for the witch had vanished without a trace, her fate unknown and her dark magic still lurking in the shadows, waiting to be unleashed once more. As the travelers returned to Whispering Pines, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of the battles yet to come, they knew that their journey was far from over. For the curse of the werewolves still loomed large over the land, its grip tightening with each passing day. But as long as the light of hope burned bright within their hearts, they knew that they would never give up the fight. For in the end, it was not the darkness that defined them, but the strength and courage they found in each other, bound together by a shared destiny and a determination to see their home restored to its former glory. As the travelers returned to Whispering Pines, they found the town in a state of uneasy calm. The threat of the werewolves had been momentarily quelled, but the shadow of the witch's curse still loomed large over the land. Whispers of the witch's disappearance spread through the town like wildfire, sparking fear and uncertainty among the townsfolk. Some believed that she had been defeated once and for all, while others feared that she was merely biding her time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. But amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a glimmer of hope emerged, for among the travelers, there were those who had glimpsed the true power of light and courage, and who were determined to see the curse of the werewolves vanquished once and for all. Together, they began to unravel the mysteries that had plagued Whispering Pines for generations, seeking out ancient tomes and hidden artifacts that held the key to breaking the witch's hold over the land. With each clue they uncovered and each puzzle they solved, they drew closer to the truth, their determination unwavering in the face of adversity. But as they delved deeper into the darkness that lurked within the forest, they soon realized that they were not alone in their quest. Shadows flitted between the trees, unseen eyes watching their every move with a malevolent gleam. It became clear that the witch's minions still lurked in the shadows, their loyalty unwavering even in the face of defeat. And as the travelers pressed on, they knew that they would need to confront these dark forces head-on if they were to have any hope of breaking the curse that had plagued Whispering Pines for so long. But what secrets lay hidden in the depths of the forest? And what price would they pay to uncover the truth? Only time would tell, as the travelers embarked on a journey that would test their courage, their strength, and their very humanity in the battle against the darkness that threatened to consume them all. As the travelers delved deeper into the heart of the forest, the air grew heavy with the weight of ancient magic, its tendrils reaching out to ensnare them in its grasp. They stumbled upon forgotten ruins, hidden chambers, and cryptic symbols etched into the very fabric of the land, each revealing a fragment of the truth behind the curse that had plagued Whispering Pines for centuries. But with each revelation came new dangers, as the dark forces that lurked within the forest grew ever more desperate to protect their secrets. Shadows danced at the edge of their vision, whispers echoed through the trees, and the very ground seemed to shift beneath their feet, threatening to swallow them whole. Yet still, the travelers pressed on, their determination unyielding in the face of the horrors that surrounded them. They knew that their journey would not be an easy one, but they also knew that they carried with them the hope of their town and the promise of a brighter future free from the taint of the witch's curse. As they ventured deeper into the darkness, they came upon a clearing bathed in an ethereal light, its center marked by a circle of ancient stones worn smooth by the passage of time. Here, they found themselves face to face with the remnants of an ancient ritual, its purpose shrouded in mystery and its power still potent after all these years. But as they began to unravel the secrets of the ritual, they soon realized that they were not alone. The witch's minions had been lying in wait, their eyes gleaming with malice as they moved to thwart the travelers at every turn. A fierce battle ensued, the clash of steel and the crackle of magic echoing through the clearing as the travelers fought for their very lives. With each blow they struck and each spell they cast, they drew closer to victory, their determination unyielding in the face of overwhelming odds. But just as it seemed that they might emerge triumphant, the ground beneath them began to tremble, and a darkness unlike anything they had ever seen began to seep from the earth. With a cry of despair, they realized that they had stumbled upon the very heart of the curse itself, and that the witch's hold over the land was stronger than they had ever imagined. As the darkness closed in around them, the travelers knew that they faced their greatest challenge yet. For in order to break the curse and save Whispering Pines from the grip of darkness, they would need to confront the witch herself and put an end to her reign of terror once and for all. But what fate awaited them in the depths of the forest, and what sacrifices would they be forced to make in order to emerge victorious? Only time would reveal the answers to these questions, as the travelers prepared to face their ultimate destiny in the battle against the darkness that threatened to consume them all. With their backs against the ancient stones, the travelers stood firm, their resolve unyielding in the face of the encroaching darkness. They refused to be overcome by fear or despair, for they knew that they carried within them the spark of hope that could banish even the deepest shadows. As the witch's minions closed in around them, the travelers fought with all their might, their weapons flashing in the dim light as they pushed back against the tide of evil. With each blow they struck and each foe they vanquished, they drew closer to their ultimate goal, to confront the witch and break the curse that had plagued Whispering Pines for far too long. And then, just as it seemed that all hope was lost, a light pierced through the darkness, bathing the clearing in its warm glow. It was the light of dawn, heralding the arrival of a new day and the promise of a brighter future. With a cry of triumph, the travelers pressed forward, their hearts filled with courage and determination. They knew that they could not falter now, for the fate of their town and all who dwelled within it hung in the balance. At last, they reached the heart of the clearing, where the witch stood waiting, her form wreathed in darkness as she prepared to unleash her final assault. But the travelers were not alone in their fight, for the people of Whispering Pines had rallied behind them, their voices raised in a chorus of defiance against the forces of evil. With a mighty roar, the travelers unleashed the full force of their combined strength upon the witch, their weapons flashing in the sunlight as they struck true. And as the witch's dark magic wavered and faltered, they knew that victory was within their grasp. With one final, desperate cry, the witch unleashed all the power she had left, but it was no match for the light of hope that burned within the hearts of the travelers. With a blinding flash, the curse was broken, the darkness receding like a tide as the witch's power was vanquished once and for all. As the travelers emerged from the clearing, they were greeted by the sight of Whispering Pines bathed in the warm light of the sun. The curse had been lifted, and the town was free at last from the grip of darkness. And though the scars of their battle remained, the people of Whispering Pines knew that they had emerged stronger and more united than ever before. For they had faced their fears and overcome them, proving that even in the darkest of times, hope could still prevail. As they looked towards the horizon, they knew that their journey was far from over, but they also knew that whatever trials lay ahead, they would face them together, bound by a shared destiny and a determination to build a better future for themselves and for generations to come. And so, as the sun set over Whispering Pines, casting its golden light upon the town below, the people gathered together to celebrate their victory, knowing that no matter what challenges the future might hold, they would face them with courage, strength, and the unwavering belief that as long as there was light in their hearts, the darkness could never truly overcome them.